A millionaire's shocking visit to his employee's home reveals a secret that changed everything. Jonathan Gray, billionaire industrialist, stood outside a modest, weathered home, his heart pounding in his chest. The evening air hung thick with tension as he glanced at the peeling paint and cracked windows. This wasn't your typical mansion visit, no sprawling lawns or manicured hedges. This was Lily Thompson's home. She was one of his most dedicated employees. But who was she really? Each detail about her intrigued him more than he expected. He had learned that she was a single mother, struggling to keep her 2 kids in school and food on the table. Seeing the stark contrast between his opulent life and her daily fight to make ends meet sent a chill down his spine. Why had he never really seen her before? What did she sacrifice to keep her head above water? Questions swirled in Jonathan's mind like a tempest. As he knocked, the door creaked open to reveal Lily, her eyes widening in shock. Her hair was tied hastily. Remnants of a busy day clung to her like a fog. "Mr. Gray?" she stammered. The way her voice trembled set off alarm bells in him. This wasn't just an unexpected visit. It felt like an intrusion. He stepped inside. The cramped living room filled with children's toys and well-worn furniture. The walls were adorned with colorful drawings, a stark contrast to the corporate skyscrapers he usually inhabited. A warmth settled in the pit of his stomach, a feeling he hadn't felt in years, but then the room seemed to tighten around him, thick with secrets. "Lily, I need to know. You've been here for years, yet I feel like there's so much about you that I don't understand," he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. The air grew heavy, and her eyes flickered with uncertainty. "What's your story?" With each probing question, her defenses began to crumble. Her voice cracked as she uncovered fragments of her past, growing up poor, the heartbreak of her mother's leaving, the struggle to raise her children alone. Yet, it wasn't until he mentioned her grandfather that everything shifted. "Your grandfather, he had connections to my family's business, didn't he? I need to know more." Her face paled as the truth flashed in her eyes. "He was an important partner, but it's complicated. I haven't spoken of it for years." The room felt smaller, like their secrets were inching closer, inching towards them both. Before they could delve deeper, a knock echoed through the room, hard and menacing. Jonathan's instincts kicked in. He could sense danger. A figure loomed outside, silhouetted against the fading light. A rival from Jonathan's past, a ghost he thought he had buried. "Jonathan Gray," the figure barked, voice dripping with disdain. "You think you can hide the truth forever?" Lily's face blanched. Jonathan felt the air escape his lungs, wrapped in fear. Fear for the woman before him, fear for the hidden truths now dangling over their heads like a guillotine. He grasped her hand tightly, their shared history crystallizing in that brief moment. As the confrontation loomed, they stood united against the shadows that threatened to unveil their lives. Would the past tear them apart, or could it bind them closer than they ever imagined? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The air froze as Jonathan's heart raced. The silhouette outside brought an instant chill as he tightened his grip on Lily's hand. "Stay behind me," he whispered, his voice steady but firm. The figure approached, emerging from the shadows. "Jonathan Gray," the man barked again, more menacing this time. "You think you can hide the truth forever?" The voice was gruff, familiar, yet distant. A ghost from Jonathan's past, as sharp as a knife. "Who are you?" Lily breathed, her wide eyes darting toward the door. Fear wrapped around them like a cold shroud. Jonathan stepped forward, just enough to shield Lily. "What do you want, Carl?" Carl sneered, the darkness playing tricks on his face. "You know exactly what I want. It's time the world knew what you've been hiding. Confusion washed over Jonathan. This isn't the time for games. Carl took another threatening step closer. Games? This is far from a game. He pulled out a worn envelope, holding it up like a trophy. You should have buried your past deeper, Jonathan. Secrets don't stay buried forever. Lily's eyes flicked between the two men. Panic etched in her face. What does he mean, Mr. Gray? Jonathan's stomach dropped. Lily, please. This isn't your fight. Oh, but it is. Carl interrupted, throwing the envelope on the floor at their feet. You know what's really at stake here. Every muscle in Jonathan's body tightened. He knelt to glance at the envelope. It lay open, a few faded photographs spilling out. His heart sank as he recognized the faces. Old friends, yes, but also his family. Scattered across the photos was Lily's grandfather, smiling alongside Jonathan's late father. Memories flooded him, warm and light, quickly overshadowed by dread. What do you think it reveals? Jonathan shot back. Anger knotted in his throat. What have you done? Carl grinned, heartless. It reveals more than you realized. Your father, he made deals, dangerous ones. And Lily's grandfather was in the middle of it all. You had it easy, while others suffered. Lily recoiled, her hand slipping from Jonathan's grasp. You're lying, she yelled, tears glistening in her eyes. Am I? Carl stepped closer to her, brimming with confidence. Your grandfather's involvement with Jonathan's father wasn't just business. They robbed the very foundation of families like yours, while Jonathan lived in a palace. Are you ready to face the truth, Lily? Pain crashed down upon Jonathan like a wave. Leave her out of this. You'll regret dragging. Regret? Oh, Jonathan. This is just the beginning. Carl chuckled, dark and foreboding. You both share a past that will surface in ways you never dreamed. He turned to leave, but not before throwing one last bombshell. Hope you're ready for the fallout. It's not just a secret. It's a ticking time bomb. The door slammed shut behind him, and silence enveloped the room. Every breath felt heavy. Fear clawed at Lily as she turned to Jonathan, their bond trembling under the weight of the revelation. What does this mean? Her voice was shaky, and he could see the cracks forming on the surface of her bravado. Jonathan's heart thudded with regret, but also desperation. I don't know, but we need to find out before it's too late. But as he reached for her, a distant sound of sirens wailed through the night, echoing the sudden chaos that just erupted in their lives. Questions hung between them, sharp and urgent. What had they unwittingly stumbled into, and who else would pay the price for the truths buried in their past? Time was ticking, and they were running out of it. What would the next blow reveal? The truth felt heavier than ever, and within that silence, dread filled the air as they faced an uncertain future. Time stood still as the air thickened with uncertainty. Jonathan and Lily exchanged glances, fear swirling in their eyes. The room felt smaller now, the walls straining against secrets yet unshared. Sirens echoed closer, but it felt impossibly far away, as if time had frozen. Then, suddenly, a loud crash came from the back of the house, the sound of shattering glass mixed with the frantic yipping of a dog. Jonathan's heart raced, blood pounding in his ears. What was that? Louis's face drained of color. I don't know. There was panic in her voice. Before Jonathan could reassure her, the front door burst open, slamming against the wall. In rushed two uniformed officers, their expressions taut with urgency. Police! Everyone stay calm, one shouted, waving his badge like a shield. What is happening? Jonathan took a step back, instinctively positioning himself in front of Lily. But the officers didn't look at him. They moved quickly, searching the room with swift, calculated precision, clearly trained for chaos. One officer's eyes fell on Jonathan, recognition dawning. Jonathan Gray? Yes, what's going on? Your name's been mentioned in connection with an ongoing investigation. An investigation? Why? It felt like the ground was slipping beneath him. An old case. Something you're connected to personally. The officer's voice was clipped, dragging a weight behind each word. Lily's breathing quickened beside him. Just then, a third figure rushed in, unannounced. The crowd gasped. It was Carl. Jonathan's heart dropped. You, he spat. They've come for you, and you brought this on yourself, Jonathan. Carl laughed maniacally, his eyes glinting with a triumph that sent shivers down Jonathan's spine. What are you talking about? Jonathan demanded. Carl stepped forward, the chaos swirling around them. Your past, Jonathan. The deals your father made, they're linked to, well, let's just say more than you know. Lily, trembling beside him, whispered, What does he mean? As if triggered by her words, the first officer spoke again. Sir, are you aware of any connections between you and a series of illegal transactions dating back years? Your father may have had dealings tied to money laundering. Every word felt like a punch to the gut. That's insane, my father was. Respectable? A businessman? You don't know the half of it, Carl interjected, an insidious smile spreading across his face. You're not just a corporate giant. Your family has ties to a murky underworld you never knew existed. Lily flinched, her voice reduced to a whisper. What are you saying? That I'm somehow part of this? Carl's laughter echoed, malicious and vindictive. Oh, it's richer than you think, Lily. Your grandfather wasn't just an employee. He was complicit. You're standing in the shadow of betrayal without even realizing it. Jonathan's eyes widened. What? No, you can't be serious. Just then, the second officer brought forth a tablet. We've got evidence, documents, pictures, everything that ties you together. He glanced at the tablet's screen, then straightened up. It's a criminal web, and you both are at the center. No, Lily screamed, her voice cracking. This can't be true. Jonathan felt a tremor in his gut. He stepped back as the implications hit him like a freight train. Lily, I would never. But the chaos erupted with renewed intensity. Sirens wailed louder, voices clamored outside, panic echoing in the atmosphere. Shadows flickered near the doorway, and a group of people rushed in, faces familiar yet haunting. They were his old friends and colleagues, but something was off. All of them wore expressions of shock, betrayal, mingled with anger. What have you done, John? One shouted, eyes darting to Lily. You brought this on us all. A wave of realization washed over Jonathan. This was bigger than him. The walls that had held back the truth were crumbling, and now it threatened everything. It wasn't just his secret. It was theirs. Time to face your past, Jonathan. Carl hissed, satisfaction gleaming in his eyes. In that moment, as the crowd surrounded them, reality fractured. Lily grabbed his arm, confusion swirling behind her tears. The questions loomed larger than before. Who were they really? What truths lay hidden in their shared histories? And as the camera flicked to the growing crowd, Jonathan felt the weight of everything pressing down. Would they all be buried under the fallout of the life he inherited? The air felt electric, charged with the impending explosion of truths, and amidst the chaos, Jonathan couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. Jonathan stood frozen. The crowd was a wave crashing in, and panic surged through him. His gaze darted between the police, Carl, and Lily. She looked pale, fear etched on her face. This had spiraled into chaos. The officers were focused, moving swiftly as they questioned him, faces sharp and serious. We need to know everything, Jonathan, one officer insisted. This isn't just about you anymore. Carl's laughter echoed, cutting through the tension like glass. You thought you could live in your castle while the rest of us were left to suffer. Look where you are now. Jonathan was breathing heavy, each inhale sharper than the last. Stop, he shouted, but the noise around him swallowed his words. Lily's eyes were wide, confusion making her tremble. What do you mean I'm part of this? She stammered, her voice quaking with disbelief. Your grandfather didn't just work with Jonathan's father. He was pulling strings, Carl leered, as if he was enjoying every moment of their unraveling. Suddenly, a man with shaggy hair and torn jeans pushed through the crowd. Jonathan recognized him instantly. Danny, an old friend he hadn't seen in years. "What are you doing here?" Jonathan asked, his voice a hoarse whisper, heart pounding. Danny's eyes were wild, an intensity that made Jonathan's stomach drop. "You need to listen. It's bigger than you think." Everyone turned, breaths held. Danny was here, and something about his urgency felt off. Could he even be trusted? Before he could clarify, a commotion erupted behind Danny. A woman burst through the doorway, eyes frantic, darting from face to face. "Stop! You all need to stop!" Jonathan felt the air shift. This woman was familiar, but he couldn't place her until she stepped closer. It was his mother. The realization hit him like a punch. How had he not known she would come? "Mom?" he choked out as memories flooded his mind. "Stay away from him," she shouted, pointing at Carl, her voice filled with a raw kind of fear. "Mom, what are you doing?" Jonathan took a step forward. "I need to know." "No!" she cut him off, panic spilling over. "You don't understand. I never wanted you involved in any of this." "What are you talking about?" Lily's voice trembled. "What is going on?" The walls felt like they were closing in. Jonathan's mind raced. He knew there were family secrets, but this was a different level of chaos. His mother turned to him, face pale with desperation. "Your grandfather. He changed his name to protect us from the truth, from his past mistakes." Jaw tightening, Jonathan shot back. "Mistakes? What kind of mistakes? What kind of deal?" "More than you know," she whispered, shaking her head. "He was involved in money laundering too, but not just connected, he was the mastermind." Shock rippled through the room. People gasped, whispers bounced off the walls. Jonathan felt like the ground had vanished beneath him. "No, that can't be." Lily cried, stepping back as if the truth itself was a physical blow. "You're saying my family is tied to this?" "It's not just your family," Danny interjected, urgency dripping from his words. "Jonathan, it's all connected. The company, the properties, everything you've built is based on lies." As Lily's breath hitched, Jonathan felt a knot tighten in his chest. "We need to find the truth, now." But before they could move, Carl laughed again, this time softer, almost smug. "You think you can escape your past? The world is about to find out everything, and you'll be trapped in the spotlight. Just wait." The sirens grew closer, the reality of chaos crashing in, and Jonathan felt everything start to spiral. His heart raced as questions flooded his mind. Who was he, really? Just then, the lights flickered, plunging the room into a momentary darkness. Gasps echoed around them, and in that moment of confusion, someone pulled Jonathan sharply, whispering in his ear, "I know how to fix this, if you're ready to lose everything." Jonathan's heart raced, uncertainty hanging in the air, thick as fog. What did that mean? What would he have to sacrifice? As the lights flickered back on, he looked around, faces uncertain, fear palpable, futures hanging by a thread. The stakes had never been higher, and everything he thought he understood had just shattered into ruins. Now the real question loomed above them all. What price was he willing to pay for the truth? The lights flickered, and Jonathan's heart pounded in his chest. Just as he was about to ask the stranger who had whispered in his ear for clarity, something happened that made time freeze. A loud crash came from the front window, and glass shattered everywhere. Everyone jumped, eyes wide in shock. Jonathan turned, breath catching in his throat. A figure stumbled through the jagged remains of the window, clothes torn, blood trickling down the side of their face. It was a woman, a familiar woman. His mind raced, searching for a name, a memory. "Megan," he breathed, recognition hitting him like a brick. She was his childhood friend, someone he thought he'd never see again. The room buzzed with confusion, whispers cascading around them like angry waves. "Get away from him," Megan shouted, her voice hoarse and urgent as she pointed a trembling finger at Carl. "You need to listen to me." Everyone turned to them, eyes darting between her and Carl, whose smug expression faltered for a split second. That second felt eternal. "What are you doing here?" Jonathan yelled, stepping over the broken glass, his heart racing. "You should be safe." "No, no, you don't understand," she cried, eyes wild with panic. "It's not just the money, it's bigger than that. Your father, he was in too deep." Jonathan's mind was whirling. "Deep? What do you mean?" "The deals weren't just financial. It was human trafficking, Jonathan. Your father and Lily's grandfather, they were involved in more than you know. They hurt people." Silence fell like a lead blanket. Every person in the room froze, absorbing the impact of her words like a punch to the gut. Lily gasped, stepping back, her face ashen. "No, that can't be. My grandfather would never." "He was as corrupt as your father," Megan pressed on, her voice rising. "The families, the deals hidden in the shadows, it's all connected, and now it's coming for all of you." Daniel's face twisted in horror, disbelief mingling with anger. "Are you even sure you're not lying to cover your own back?" "Why would I lie?" Megan looked incredulous, shaking her head. "I came back to warn you. There are people out there who want to silence the truth." Carl's chuckle echoed, dark and sinister. "You've brought back the ghost of your past, Jonathan. You failed to bury it deep, and now it's haunting you." Megan was one of the missing pieces. The crowd stirred, murmurs swirling like a storm. Jonathan felt awareness drip down from his head to his stomach. Megan was back, and her arrival shifted everything. She'd been a sacrificial lamb to those dark deals, and now they were colliding with his life in a way he could never have anticipated. "I found something," she said, pulling a crumpled piece of paper from her pocket, looking over at Jonathan with desperation in her eyes. "I have evidence, documents that show everything. It ties back to your father, Jonathan. What he did, what your family became a part of." The moment hung thick, everyone waiting, breaths held tight. The sirens blared closer, metal scraping against the pavement. Jonathan felt it all around him. Fury, fear, regret. The weight of everything he thought he knew threatened to crush him. "Jonathan," Lily whispered, her eyes swimming with tears, pulling him back to her. "What if she's right? What if it's true?" Megan's eyes found Jonathan's, desperation bleeding through, making his heart race. "You need to trust me. There's no time. We have to figure this out before it consumes everyone. Before they come back for us." But in that moment, as realization washed over him, one thought pierced through the chaos. Was Megan truly his childhood friend, lost and now found? Or was she just another puppet in this twisted game? And as the sirens crescendoed, echoing the chaos within, Jonathan knew time was running out. Who were they really facing? And who could they trust when shadows loomed over the truth like a dark cloud? The lights flickered back on, revealing the chaos in vivid color. Jonathan stared at Megan, his childhood friend, heart racing. Was she really here to help? Or was she dragging more trouble into their already chaotic lives? He could feel Lily's anxiety beside him, her breath quickening with every passing second. "Megan, please, what exactly are you talking about?" Jonathan urged. But before she could answer, the atmosphere thickened with tension. Suddenly, a loud crash came from outside, shaking the house to its core. The crowd gasped, their eyes darting toward the entrance, where figures could be seen approaching. More police? Another shock filled the air. "Not just police," Danny shouted, his eyes wide with fear. "Those are reporters." The sound of cameras clicking filled the room, invasive flashes illuminating the dark corners. Every noise spiraled into a cacophony of urgency, shouts, questions, confusion. The weight of the crowd pressing in surged, and Jonathan felt his chest tighten. "Look, this isn't the time," he started. But the uproar drowned him out. Then, out of the din, a single voice rose above the chaos. It was Carl. "I told you this would happen, Jonathan." His laughter echoed, brimming with satisfaction. "Your day in the sun is over. They're here for you." Suddenly, attention shifted to Jonathan. Cameras focused on him, lenses zooming in like sharks, honing in on blood. "Jonathan Gray, what do you have to say about the allegations?" a reporter called, pushing through the throng. His pulse quickened. "Allegations? What are you talking about? Before he could finish, a loud commotion from the doorway interrupted him. A striking woman pushed her way in, eyes blazing with purpose. Jonathan squinted, trying to place her. The fabric of her blazer clung to her tightly, asserting authority. "Everyone, step back," she yelled sharply. It was his attorney, Clara, someone he hadn't called but who seemed to appear just in time. She advanced, navigating the crowd like a ship through stormy waters. "Clara?" Jonathan's heart lifted, but the relief was short-lived. "What are you doing here?" "Just doing my job," she snapped, urgency threading through her words. "I didn't realize how many complications your family secrets have, Jonathan." "What do you mean?" "Let's just say," Clara continued, quickly lowering her voice, "I've been running my own investigation. Your father's dealings, they're all over the place. Money laundering? Yes. Human trafficking?" She paused, glancing toward Megan, her gaze sharp. "Yes, and drug trade as well." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Jonathan's heart lurched, panic twisting in his gut. No, that can't be true. But before he could protest, Megan stepped forward, her face pale. "It is true, I was there, Jonathan. Your father's hands weren't clean. I didn't want to believe it, but the pieces fit." "Pieces?" Clara echoed, snapping her attention back to Megan. "What do you know?" Megan opened her mouth, but just then, a loud bang echoed outside. The room fell into a heavy silence, every heart racing. Then a voice pierced through the air, cutting through the tension like a knife. "Don't move!" A man in a tactical vest stormed through the door, gun drawn, shouting orders. "Everyone down. This is an active investigation. We are looking for any suspects." Jonathan felt his world tilt. Suspects? Then he noticed something strange. The officer's eyes, they weren't just scanning the crowd, they were searching for someone in particular. His heart thundered in his chest as recognition struck. The officer was an old family friend, Detective Riggs, someone who'd worked with his father before. "Detective, what's going on?" Jonathan shouted, voice shaking. Detective Riggs met his gaze with a grave expression. "You need to come with me, Jonathan. It's about your father. He's alive." A silence fell, the world tilting once more. Alive? His father? Jonathan felt a pang of disbelief. But before he could process this shocking revelation, Detective Riggs stepped forward, and in that instant, everything shattered. "Your father has been the target of an international syndicate, and it leads straight to you and Lily. Not just his past, but your future." Megan stepped back, eyes wide. The crowd whispered in shock, questions bubbling in the air. Jonathan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. What did that mean? What had been hidden from him all this time? Just then, another loud bang resonated through the room. A gunshot. "Get down!" Clara screamed, and chaos erupted. As the crowd dove for cover, Jonathan lunged for Lily, pulling her close, heart pounding, knowing the world as he knew it was collapsing. Was his father really alive? Did this mean she was connected to it all? Questions surged like wildfire. The only thing he knew for sure was that secrets were buried deeper than he'd ever imagined, and the truth felt more dangerous than ever. What awaited him on the other side of the chaos? The loud bang echoed again, ringing in Jonathan's ears. Chaos erupted. As shouts filled the air, he pulled Lily down behind a couch, heart racing. The screams and panicked breaths around them morphed into a whirlwind of fear. Sirens wailed like banshees outside, closing in on their fragile world. "Megan, what is happening?" Jonathan yelled, eyes wide. "There's no time," she snapped back, urgency etched on her face. "We need to get out of here. They're coming for the both of you." Suddenly, Clara rushed over, grabbing Jonathan's arm. "Listen, we have to move before they find us. Your father's alive, and if that's true, he's not just hiding because of past mistakes. There's a reason no one wants him found." "How do you know?" Jonathan fired back, a lump forming in his throat. "This isn't just about you anymore." Clara fed, eyes darting, breathing heavy. If your father is linked to illegal activities, there are people who will go to any length to keep him quiet, or to take you both down as well. Before Jonathan could process it, another series of gunshots rang out. Instinctively, he flinched, pulling Lily closer as panic rippled through the crowd. "Stay down," Detective Riggs shouted, forcing his way into the chaos. "Everyone needs to get out now." Their eyes met, and Jonathan saw something flicker in the detective's gaze, something unspoken. "What aren't you telling me?" he implored. Feeling desperation clawed his throat. "Your father may not be who you think he is," Riggs said quietly, tension brewing in the air like an approaching storm. "There are connections to criminal organizations you wouldn't believe. This whole time I thought it was just about money. It's about power and control." "What do you mean?" Lily's voice trembled, her eyes wide, reflecting terror. "It's deeper than family ties," Riggs continued, urgency cranking up like a tightened spring. "You're all linked. I don't think your grandfather was just another pawn, Lily. I think he was a key player." As Riggs spoke, Megan's expression shifted from urgency to realization. "That's why they're after you. They want Jonathan's power to silence it all, and they may not hesitate to use you." In that moment, the door burst open, a pounding force that knocked the frame free. It swung wide, and in stepped a man in a long coat, shadows darting behind him like phantoms. Face was hidden under the brim of a dark hat, but the aura he carried could silence a room. Now, careful with those weapons," he said smoothly, voice cool and menacing. "I'd hate for anyone to get hurt. Especially someone like you, Jonathan." "Who the hell are you?" Jonathan shouted, adrenaline fueling his anger. "Oh, you don't remember me, do you?" The man moved forward, revealing a face that carried an uncanny familiarity. Jonathan's heart dropped. "No, it can't be." The man leaned forward, and the room held its breath. "Your father wasn't just alive. He's been orchestrating this from afar. He's the real puppet master behind it all. He's been watching." Gasps echoed around the room. Clara's mouth hung open, disbelief playing across her features. "You're lying." Jonathan breathed, feeling the world spin. "You wouldn't do that." But the man tilted his head, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Oh, but he did. You see, Jonathan, this isn't just about your father. It's about controlling legacies, about power and betrayal. Your path is forged, and you're running out of time." "Wait," Megan interjected, her voice steady. "You're saying he's behind all of this? The past? The money?" "Exactly," the man replied, a smirk creeping across his lips. "And now you're both intricately tied to it. It's too late to run." Jonathan's vision blurred, everything he believed shattered, each piece cutting through the fragile foundation of trust he had built. He stared at Lily. The weight of her eyes felt heavier than ever. Betrayal, anger, confusion. "Megan," he said, voice low, wavering. "If what he says is true, what does this mean for us?" Before she could answer, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. Panic surged through the space, an electric crackle of uncertainty. And then, just as suddenly as it had gone dark, a blinding flash illuminated the room. When the shadows pulled back, everyone could see a group of unfamiliar faces stepped into view, all dressed in black, eyes cold and calculating. "Tonight, everything ends," the man in the hat declared. His smirk widened, and Jonathan felt a pit open inside him. "What's happening?" The question trembled from his lips, but deep down, he felt the truth surging like a tidal wave. This was just the beginning. The phone in Jonathan's pocket buzzed violently. He pulled it out. A message appeared on the screen, stark and urgent. "Your father's actions are catching up to you. They're coming for everyone." He looked up, the full weight of the unfolding nightmare pressing on him. What would he lose? Everything was unraveling, and the truth felt like a ticking time bomb. Every heartbeat echoed with one desperate question. Was there any way out, or had the darkness finally consumed them all? The loud bang echoed again, ringing in Jonathan's ears. Chaos erupted as shouts filled the air. He pulled Lily down behind a couch, heart racing. The screams and panicked breaths around them morphed into a whirlwind of fear. Sirens wailed like banshees outside, closing in on their fragile world. "Megan, what is happening?" Jonathan yelled, eyes wide.
"There's no time," she snapped back, urgency etched on her face. "We need to get out of here. They're coming for the both of you." Suddenly, Clara rushed over, grabbing Jonathan's arm. "Listen, we have to move before they find us. Your father's alive, and if that's true, he's not just hiding because of past mistakes. There's a reason no one wants him found." "How do you know?" Jonathan fired back, a lump forming in his throat. "This isn't just about you anymore," Clara said, eyes darting, breathing heavy. "If your father is linked to illegal activities, there are people who will go to any length to keep him quiet, or to take you both down as well." Before Jonathan could process it, another series of gunshots rang out. Instinctively, he flinched, pulling Lily closer as panic rippled through the crowd. "Stay down," Detective Riggs shouted, forcing his way into the chaos. "Everyone needs to get out now." Their eyes met, and Jonathan saw something flicker in the detective's gaze, something unspoken. "What aren't you telling me?" he implored, feeling desperation claw at his throat. "Your father may not be who you think he is," Riggs said quietly, tension brewing in the air like an approaching storm. "There are connections to criminal organizations you wouldn't believe. This whole time, I thought it was just about money. It's about power and control." "What do you mean?" Lily's voice trembled, her eyes wide, reflecting terror. "It's deeper than family ties," Riggs continued, urgency cranking up like a tightened spring. "You're all linked. I don't think your grandfather was just another pawn, Lily. I think he was a key player." As Riggs spoke, Megan's expression shifted from urgency to realization. "That's why they're after you. They want Jonathan's power to silence it all, and they may not hesitate to use you." In that moment, the door burst open, a pounding force that knocked the frame free. It swung wide, and in stepped a man in a long coat, shadows darting behind him like phantoms. His face was hidden under the brim of a dark hat, but the aura he carried could silence a room. Now, careful with those weapons," he said smoothly, voice cool and menacing. "I'd hate for anyone to get hurt, especially someone like you, Jonathan." "Who the hell are you?" Jonathan shouted, adrenaline fueling his anger. "Oh, you don't remember me, do you?" The man moved forward, revealing a face that carried an uncanny familiarity. Jonathan's heart dropped. "No, it can't be." The man leaned forward, and the room held its breath. "Your father wasn't just alive. He's been orchestrating this from afar. He's the real puppet master behind it all. He's been watching." Gasps echoed around the room. Clara's mouth hung open, disbelief playing across her features. "You're lying," Jonathan breathed, feeling the world spin. "He wouldn't do that." But the man tilted his head, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Oh, but he did. You see, Jonathan, this isn't just about your father. It's about controlling legacies, about power and betrayal. Your path is forged. And you're running out of time." "Wait," Megan interjected, her voice steady. "You're saying he's behind all of this? The past? The money?" "Exactly," the man replied, a smirk creeping across his lips. "And now you're both intricately tied to it. It's too late to run." Jonathan's vision blurred. Everything he believed shattered, each piece cutting through the fragile foundation of trust he had built. He stared at Lily. The weight of her eyes felt heavier than ever. Betrayal, anger, confusion. "Megan," he said, voice low, wavering. "If what he says is true, what does this mean for us?" Before she could answer, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness. Panic surged through the space, an electric crackle of uncertainty. And then, just as suddenly as it had gone dark, a blinding flash illuminated the room. When the shadows pulled back, everyone could see. A group of unfamiliar faces stepped into view, all dressed in black, eyes cold and calculating. "Tonight, everything ends," the man in the hat declared. His smirk widened, and Jonathan felt a pit open inside him. "What's happening?"
The question trembled from his lips, but deep down, he felt the truth surging like a tidal wave. This was just the beginning. Suddenly the air around them shifted. A loud crash came from outside, and the room shook. The weight of chaos pressed down harder, and every heartbeat echoed with unease. Without warning, the man in the hat yelled, "Get the files, now!" His words cut through the tension, igniting a rush of motion. Jonathan's stomach dropped. The words felt like a match tossed onto gasoline. "Files," Jonathan repeated, heart pounding. "What files?" Before he could comprehend it, Lena, one of the agents, lunged for Clara, grabbing her and forcing her backward. "You know too much, and you've made it too easy. We're here to tie off loose ends." "No," Jonathan shouted, lunging forward, but it was too late. Clara's eyes widened with panic. With one swift motion, Lena pulled out a gun and aimed it at Clara's chest. "Stop!" Janet yelled, pushing through the crowd. All eyes turned to her. "Not you! It's not your turn," the man in the hat declared, a sinister glimmer in his eye. "You should have stayed hidden. It's a shame. You had the perfect cover." "What?" Jonathan felt. A shudder run through him. "Who are you talking about?" The darkness lifted as Janet's expression twisted into something sinister. "You thought all this time that I was on your side?" Jonathan's chest tightened. "Janet, no, you can't mean." "Oh, I absolutely do," she declared. "I've been playing my part all along. Your father isn't the only one controlling things here. I'm the one pulling strings, Jonathan. You've danced to my tune this entire time." The air turned electric. A gasp echoed from the crowd, disbelief spreading like wildfire. "You!" Jonathan felt his world tilt again, disorientation swirling within him. "You've been grooming you," she interrupted, a wicked grin stretching across her face. "And now, all of this? It's just the next act. You'll either bow or burn. It's your choice." Every person present felt the impact of her words. Jonathan stood frozen. The one he'd relied on, who had been helping arrange a way through the chaos, was the very one fueling the storm. And as the pieces of betrayal swirled around him, Jonathan realized he was trapped in a game he didn't understand. All the so-called allies fractured, each crumbling with the weight of secrets unveiled. "Now," Janet said, her voice silky and confident, "let's see how far you're willing to go, to keep your precious little world intact." The room was thick with danger and broken trust. Jonathan's heart raced violently. What had he stumbled into? Who could he trust? And in that tangled web, was any hope left to find the truth? As the air around them crackled with tension, he knew one thing. This was a fight for survival like none he had ever faced. The room crackled with a tense silence, punctuated only by the heavy breathing of Jonathan and those around him. Janet stood firm, the room's atmosphere heavy with a blend of betrayal and confusion. The danger was palpable, every heartbeat resonating with the looming threat. Jonathan's mind whirled. "You've been pulling the strings?" he stammered. Disbelief etched across his face. "Why?" Her smile twisted like a knife. "Because I needed you to see the truth. Your father is a monster, Jonathan, and you're his legacy, the perfect pawn in a game you've barely begun to understand." Just then, from beyond the doorway, a loud thud reverberated through the house. The lights flickered again, casting eerie shadows on everyone's faces. Detectives, reporters, and family friends, all were caught in the web of deceit, suspense thickening by the second. "Everyone," Detective Riggs shouted, his voice firm, a command piercing through the chaos. "We're in serious danger. We need to clear out, now." But before anyone could react, another loud slam echoed, louder this time. The window shattered, sending shards flying across the room. Panic ricocheted through the crowd as shouts rang out. "Get down!" Jonathan instinctively shielded Lily, pressing her against the ground. Everything felt like it was in slow motion. Muffled cries, the tang of fear in the air.
Clara was somewhere close, yelling directives. Megan was hunched by the couch, fear etched in her expression. Then, out of the chaos, something unexpected happened. A flash of crimson caught Jonathan's eye. He turned just in time to see a dark figure stumble in, collapsing near Janet. There was blood, a stark crimson spreading across the floor like spilled ink. "Don't move," the man shouted, clutching his side. His voice was strained, desperate. "I know what's going on." Jonathan's heart raced as recognition struck. "Dad?" The room fell silent as eyes turned toward the figure on the floor. He was supposed to be gone, a specter haunting Jonathan's nightmares. Yet here he was, bruised and bleeding, defying all Jonathan believed. "Jonathan, listen." His father gasped, struggling to rise. "They're coming for you both." "Both?" Janet's demeanor shifted, her smirk evaporating into horror. "What do you mean?" But before he could respond, the dark figure turned and locked eyes with Lily. "You're the key." "What? What does that mean?" Jonathan felt bile rise in his throat as he watched the scene unfold. "It's about the legacy," his father continued, voice shaky but insistent. "Lily, your grandfather, he made a deal." Then, without warning, from the rear of the room, another group burst in. Masked figures, their intentions unreadable. Panic erupted anew. Shouts filled the air, but in the flurry of movement, a flick of a wrist revealed a device, a small metallic object that glinted ominously in the flickering light. "Time's up," one of the intruders barked. Jonathan's stomach knotted as he realized what was happening. They were here for finality. He could feel the edges of his world crumbling. "Stop! Don't!" "What is happening?" His voice cracked, pushed to the brink of madness. But then it all changed. With a sweeping motion, the masked figure activated the device. An explosion, a bright flash filled the room, blinding. The force threw everyone back. Smoke filled the air, screams echoed. But amidst the chaos, Jonathan glimpsed something in his father's eyes, a spark of recognition. "Jonathan," he shouted through the haze, panic rising. "You're not who you think you are. You were meant for more than just this." The smoke cleared, but only just enough for Jonathan to see his father's final words, fading into the chaos. Everything froze around him. "What?" The question hung. Reality refracted, shifting under the weight of his father's declaration. What had he meant? And in that moment, as shadows closed in, Jonathan understood, a truth hidden within the smoke, begging to be uncovered. The floor beneath him felt unsteady, relationships rippling like leaves in a storm. What did his father mean? Before Jonathan could piece it together, darkness engulfed him. The chaos erupted in staccato bursts. The blast had thrown everyone into a frenzy. Jonathan's heart raced, eyes darting around the room, searching for Lily, for any sign of safety in the maelstrom of shadows and chaos. His father lay crumpled on the ground, blood pooled around his side, a haunting reminder of choices long buried. "Get down," Riggs barked again, swarming into protective mode as masked figures charged into the room, darting like serpents in the night. "Move now," Clara shouted, shoving Jonathan and Lily toward a narrow exit. The smoke thickened, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. "No, we need to help him," Jonathan shouted, heart torn in two. "Not now. We don't have time." Clara pulled him forward. "No." Jonathan yanked his hand free, desperation coursing through him. "Dad, get up." His father coughed, blood trickling down his chin, eyes wild. "Jonathan, listen to me." Every fiber of Jonathan's being screamed to stay and fight for his father. But the instinct for survival tugged at him harder. Every second felt like an eternity, his father's gaze pleading. Forcing himself to turn, Jonathan grabbed Lily's hand. She squeezed back, her grip fierce, a tether in the storm. They raced through the living room, the sounds of shattering glass and gunfire echoing in rhythm with their frantic breaths. As they stumbled into the hallway, Jonathan risked a glance back. Janet had transformed into a tempest of fury,
shouting orders to the intruders, her face twisted with rage. "Get them! Don't let them escape!" Jonathan could feel the finality in those words as they raced down the staircase, heartbeats pounding like war drums in his chest. But as they reached the door, Riggs blocked their path, face stormy. "You can't go out there. It's a trap." "What do you mean?" Jonathan panted, confusion lacing his voice. "The syndicate. They're waiting. Your father wanted this to happen. He orchestrated this chaos to bind you both to him." Riggs' frustration melted into fear. "Bind us to him?" Lily echoed, terror swimming in her eyes. "We can't leave him." In that moment, the truth crashed down harder than the gunfire outside. "He knew," Jonathan whispered, horror creeping into his veins. "He wanted to draw them in to save us." The walls seemed to suddenly constrict, secrets spiraling like smoke. But before Jonathan could process it, the door swung open with a bang. The flash of lights surrounded them. Reporters, police, chaos. "Get your hands up," a voice rang out, command cutting through the air. Jonathan and Lily exchanged a terrified glance. In that instant, sirens blared louder, signaling impending doom. "Out! Everyone out!" Riggs commanded, pushing them toward a narrow side entrance. With a burst of adrenaline, they broke through, stumbling into the cool night air. "Follow me," Riggs urged as they dashed away from the chaos, the shadows still looming behind. Lily's breath caught as they veered into the alley. "What happens now?" she gasped. Jonathan didn't know. He turned to her, holding her gaze, and felt the weight of everything crushing down. "We face it together. We're stronger than this." But the uncertainty lingered in the air like smoke from a dying fire. As they disappeared into the night, a single thought echoed in Jonathan's mind, more resolute than before. They would uncover the truth, no matter the cost. The world outside felt raw and unreal, and the horizon whispered possibilities. Jonathan took a deep breath, allowing the cool air to seep into his lungs. They may have emerged from the darkness, but the journey was far from over. In a universe spun from shadows and whispers, they would find their way. And as the dawn began to break, Jonathan clenched Lily's hand, the resolve forged in shared pain, igniting anew. The truth might take everything, but together, they would reclaim what was stolen. You have to subscribe right now. Don't miss our next exclusive stories that dive even deeper into Jonathan and Lily's fight for truth and redemption. Smash that like button right now to show your support and feed the algorithm. I want to hear your thoughts and theories about the ending, so flood the comments section. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how their journey unfolds. This is the moment to rally together.